Morning, guys. Hope everyone's keeping well. Hope everybody's having a lovely long bank holiday weekend. I just cooked myself some breakfast, bubble and squeak from last night's dinner, bacon, toast. Beautiful, lovely stuff. Set me up for the day. Match day, Tottenham, Nottingham Forest. Now, talk around Ange. He's going to be making 4 or 5 changes. As I said in my previous videos, I wouldn't do that. I'd want to play the nearest the same size as possible to keep the team consistency, momentum from that better performance against Frankfurt last week. Now, Nottingham Forest, they have it all to play for. You know, they've dropped out of the top 4 over the weekend due to other teams winning. Dropped down to 6th now. It's an important game for them. Like, they've been in the top 4 for majority of the season, and if they're thinking of it, you know, that'll be a really big disappointment for them if they do drop out. So they should have a lot of motivation tonight. They're off the back of 2 defeats as well in the league, and you know, the pressure is on them really to get the victory. For Tottenham, it's about not losing any more games. We've got to be honest here. We do not want to be losing any more games. If we lose tonight, that's number 18. If it wasn't for West Ham dropping points in the very last minute, we possibly could be 17th in the league, which is not good enough, you know. And look, I know it was a fantastic result on Thursday, but we cannot forget the dreadful league form we've had this season. And just because we get to a semi-final Europa League game doesn't mean we've all forgotten about this terrible league form we're in. Now, I've been engaging with quite a few people on YouTube, TikTok, and they'll kind of think that we should make changes so it doesn't get those top, you know, the first team was injured for that Europa League second or semi-final against Bodo Glimt, which is next week, which is quite a little while away. Um, you know, they're worried about getting injuries. They think the league's done. It doesn't matter. I mean, I disagree because, you know, we cannot keep losing games. I've keep saying this. We can't. It's, you know, we can't do it. It's not good. People pay a lot of money to go and watch their team, and they expect Spurs. They need to do better. They need to win tonight against Nottingham Forest. Changes, no changes. They've got to go out there and put a performance in like we saw against Frankfurt. You know, we need to be determined. We want the game. We want to win it. We're going to have to turn up tonight against Nottingham Forest. As I said, Nottingham Forest are going to be motivated to win. They want to get back in that top 4. Nottingham Forest, I think they're into semi-finals as well against I think it's Manchester City. I'm not 100% sure. Let's have a look. Yeah, it is against Manchester City on the 27th of April, which is right next weekend, right? So look, they've got it all to play for, and you know, they're the thing is Nottingham Forest like to plan a counter. So knowing Spurs will be obviously pushing on, keeping a high line. So it's going to be dangerous. Obviously their wingers will be trying to get in behind us. Chris Wood's, you know, in a fantastic season. They're a good side, Nottingham Forest. So it's going to be a tough game. But what are these players, these Spurs players, going to show tonight? Are they're going to want the victory? Are they going to turn up? Now they should be proving to the manager that they want to get into the team for the semi-finals 2 legs. You know, players need to turn up, perform, be motivated. Now there's been a lot of talk around should Ange keep his job if he wins that Europa League. It's a really debatable one. Lots of different opinions. I mean, for him to win that trophy would be fantastic for the club. You know, it's been so many years, 40 years since the last European trophy. But then again, you look at just the league season and it's just not been good enough. Ange knows that. You know, you could have see how happy he was after that game on Thursday night, that relieved. He looked so relieved to get through. The players did turn up for him. They did. You know, did they do that for him or did they do it for themselves? Again, it's debatable, isn't it? But at the end of the day, team manager, they pulled it off and got a great result. Now, you know, we win that Europa League, fantastic, but I still don't think Ange is the right man to bring this team forward. You know, in the press conference the day before yesterday, he's talking about that he's kind of the whole recruitment. Not a lot's going to change, even if we did qualify for the Champions League through winning the Europa League, that they're going to go on this same path. And, you know, it's just so disappointing to hear because if you get into the Champions League next year, you've got Premier League games as well. You need to be going out and buying players who are going to lift this team up. You know, top players, good players, experienced players to help us in that competition. as well as the Premier League and the cup competitions, and to stay on the same path, I just think it's just not good enough. Look at the league. We suffered all those injuries. We fell off. Ange didn't adapt enough. Kept playing the same way. And imagine Ange managing next season. I just can't see it. I'd rather a better manager come in, better coach come in, and take us forward. Fair play if he wins it, and that he can leave the club with his head held high, winning that trophy. Will go down in history, of course. But you've got to look at the league. You've got to look at the general progression of the team. Cup games, one-off games, you can win. Yeah, you can get to finals with a good run. Europa League has not been a challenging one for Spurs. Frankfurt were probably the best team we played. Again, great result going to Frankfurt and beating them. They'd only lost like 3 games at home all season. Yeah, a great achievement. But that's not really the true reflection of the side and where it's at right now and the progression it's made. We haven't made any progression, so close to the bottom, and it's just not good enough. It's not acceptable as Spurs fans. Now, look, people will argue with me and say, look, you're not very sympathetic to the injury situation. How can you want to manage us sacked if you win a cup? But that's just my opinion. I don't like him. I don't like Ange. I don't think he's the right guy to bring us forward. I really don't. I just don't think he can manage different competitions, manage squads. And the thing for me, what really gets to me, that he won't challenge the board when you need to. Like, look, this is the season we've had. We went for all youngsters in the summer, mainly other than Solanke. It didn't work, did it? Because we're 17th, 16th in the league, whatever. And it's just not good enough. And he should be saying, look, we need to change the recruitment strategy. We need to, yes, I'm not saying never buy young players again, but get a good mix, improve, go out there, buy a top midfielder, defender, forward. Yeah, really raise the level of this team. And, so for me, win the Europa League or not, Ange still needs to go, in my opinion. But look, guys, give us your thoughts on the game tonight. What you're thinking. Do you think we'll win? What are we going to see tonight? We're going to see a good performance from Spurs. you know, who knows? Who knows with this club? It would be great to get a victory, wouldn't it, and build on that momentum from Thursday. I really do. I don't want to be coming on YouTube tonight and tomorrow talking about another defeat. I want us to put in a good performance. So we'll see what happens tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Please leave your comments as you do. Take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye bye.